Yeah. For any questions, I think just wanted to mention that our prayers are with all the families that were affected by the shooting in New York. Just can't think of the devastation to everybody who's involved there. People are showing up to do their jobs, and have to fear for their lives and their safeties. And again, just I know there was a police officer who was shot there, so I just feel really, really thankful and really grateful for the people that we have here that are watching, that are protecting us, to be able to come and do what we love. But we're praying for all those families that were affected there.
I know the commissioner sent out kind of a memo to the league. Are they keeping you guys informed as to what's going on, at least from a league office standpoint?
I haven't checked any of those emails this morning, but because the first thing I saw was just the headlines, and so I just obviously just devastated by that, just really want people to feel like they can go to work safely and do their job. But it does hit close to home, and it's just a reminder, of just all the issues and things that people are thinking of ahead of us, as we go from city to city and we take this show that we enjoy and we love, this game that we love. But there's a lot that goes into that. So
we didn't see Chandler's ball out there. Mm-hmm. Could you give us an update on him?
Yeah, Chandler had a knee injury yesterday, and we're kind of taking it week by week right now. And it has to do with his patellar tendon, and thank God it was not a full patellar tendon rupture, but there's an injury there, so it's something that we're going to have to rehab with him. But we're going to take it week to week and kind of see if we can get him back out there to work this camp.
Does that change anything on reps in the offensive line? Like how does his absence impact things?
Oh, certainly. I mean, it's a lot of the guys that were getting opportunities. I think of JT Carter. He's been getting some guard reps in there, and Brady can kind of work in and across the whole offensive line. But Jarrett Kingston's been working at guard there as well. So it's opportunities for these guys to kind of step up and show us what they can do. Chandler was having such a great camp, a couple of days, looking strong, looking flexible, really comfortable in our system too, so, just thinking about him and want to get him back out there quickly.
How he injured it? Did he recognize it in the moment, or did he discover?
Yeah, it was in one-on-one drills, and it was a one-on-one pass rush with Derek Brown, and it's two big, strong men against each other, and he was just kind of anchoring to get back into position and tweaked it in there.
You mentioned guys stepping up. We saw that from Shamar today, taking advantage of his reps.
Yeah, what a huge day.
Just what have you seen from him? And also, you had a close eye on the safeties early in practice. What have you seen from that unit too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Shamar, just understanding the scheme, coming from the Jets, out of scheme, spent a year with us kind of learning, and showed up in the Falcons game at the end and made a couple of plays for us there. Couple of big battles with Drake London there in the end zone towards the end of the half. But Shamar's kind of taken this offseason. He had a really good spring. Came into camp and has been steady, but today I think was a big day for him. It was a big, just kind of what we've been challenging him is to just make the play on the ball. You're in the right spot, have the confidence to go make the play. He did that today and came up with one.
Shamar's not the only cornerback that's kind of shown out here.
Yeah.
Shaw Smith-Wade had a really strong off-season program that gets carried over.
Yeah.
What have you noticed about him, maybe vocally and at least like on the field so far this training camp?
Yeah, he's really kind of just bought into what we're doing. He is becoming a person we're counting on to communicate, particularly if you're playing the nickel spot. There's a lot that goes into your connection with the run fits, your connection with the safeties and coverage and leverage and those things. He's doing a great job, and he's even playing outside, some for us. So really fired up about Shaw. And I mean, he kind of came to us that way with that kind of pro mentality, the way he takes care of his body. I can't see right now over the fence, but I guarantee you he's out there working on something. It's a guy who's just really about the details of his work.
Derek working on the side today.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that?
General soreness, trying to be smart with Derek, not in his knee feels great. I think it's just kind of, torquing his body in different ways, and he's got some oblique soreness right now. We want to be smart and get ahead of that. It's not something that we felt like we had to MRI or do anything like that right now. But as we're kind of working him back into his normal flow, we'll keep dosing him the right way so that we get him in shape for week one.
Question, but with Thielen, he was out there, but not in practice clothes. What was the mindset there?
Just a planned deal for Adam, just to make sure that we're dosing him the right way, and making sure that when he's out there, he's running full speed. He's 100%. This is just kind of a planned rhythm that we have for him.
Same
You're a
thing with
former
Mike.
receiver and receivers coach. How nice is it for you to see the competition level grow with the additions of not only Renfro, but Horn and all the guys? It's certainly got to be something you look at from a different light.
Absolutely, it's great, and especially like I love having a basketball team out there. It's kind of like my receiver coaching background. I like having different body types. You know, you got T-Mac who's 6'4", you got Bryson Tremaine who's 6'5", you got Jimmy Horn who's your 5'9", you know, speedster type of guy. You got a bunch of 6-footers who are just rocked up and ready to help in the run game and do whatever. And Xavier and David Moore and Jalen Coker and Hunter Renfro kind of fits that, you know, that classic traditional slot mold. So there's just a lot of variety and guys who can help in multiple ways. So that's my hope. My high hope and dream is that in every position room that we can create that level of competition as we continue to build this team now and in the future. We love it when it's like you can envision, you know, who's going to make this roster, and when there's more guys than you have spots for. That's really the type of competition that elevates the room. It elevates the performance on the field, the practices. It challenges the defense, and vice versa. You know, when we have all these, you know, guys we brought in on the interior of our defensive line, you know, you look at the competition there, and just how stout Bobby Brown out there for the first day today. He looked awesome.
Tomorrow.
Yes, we will. We padded up. Tomorrow will be probably about 15 to 20 minutes longer than it was today, and really just trying to and leaving the groups out there for a longer duration, and just try to have an aiming point for how many plays that is, so they can start to get into, you know, playing 8, 10, 12 snaps in a row, which is what they're going to be expected to do.
How do you view the center position and competition there?
It's going great. Yeah. You know, they're both getting opportunities every other day to work with Bryce in there. And, you know, when I look at it, if the offense is running smoothly, I mean, we have a great starting point, you know, so I think we have to just kind of take it day by day right now. And Cade and Austin, sorry. I'm excited about that competition.
You mentioned Jimmy a second ago. There was a sequence where he kind of gets popped and bounces right back up. What is it about him that kind of gives you the confidence to put him in those positions?
Yeah, just constant energy, courage. It's his play style. You know, it showed up on film last year. He's a tough guy, you know, and, you know, he's battling in the run game to block, to stay connected throughout the whole play, which was kind of a challenge for me to those guys. Is like, this matters. This is who we're going to be. We're a running team first and foremost, and so we need all of you to, you know, to be involved in that. That's your contribution to what we're doing, and he takes that seriously. He studies. He's here early. He's here late. He's working on stuff that he missed. He's asking questions. He's very curious by nature. So all of the things that to me point towards being a pro.
You got Bobby Brown and some other guys that used to play for the Rams, and know the experience under EJ. How is that helping in the rebuild, having those guys?
Yeah, it's communication. I think communication is the recipe for growth, you know, for becoming something quickly. Is there are all these little issues within each call that guys have to be able to figure out on the fly. And I think when you have people who have been in system, Roseboom, Nick Scott, Ashawn, Bobby, you know, it really helps the whole group. They can learn and see from their reps. This is the adjustment you have to do quickly here versus this maybe unscouted look. We try to cover all the information as we can as coaches in the meeting rooms, but there are things that come up, you know, in the day. There's things that come up in a game where it's those micro adjustments that really allow a group to play together. And so those are the things that we're relying on from them.
I do and ask what happened with the shooting at the NFL headquarters. What did you address that with the team? What's been your thoughts on that?
Just prayers for everybody involved.
Trevin probably took on a lot more than he expected to in his first season. How did that kind of expand what, you know, he can be responsible for and take on in his second season?
Yeah, those game reps are valuable. You know, we're committed to playing our young guys, and you know, we have the highest expectations for them, but we also expect for them to make mistakes. And we know that every mistake that a young player makes for us helps us in the future. It's just learning lessons, you know, and there's nothing better than time on task, you know, and Trevin got a lot of that last year. And then going into the spring, you know, for him to be able to, like, dive into the film, do a good self-scout of the previous season, apply those things to practice. And then what I'm seeing from Trevin is just a faster style of play. He's showing up in a real physical way. And like something I love to say that I look for is I can remember what Trevin's tape looked like coming out of Kentucky. I remember what a fast, big, and physical player he's been. And when I don't see that, I know he's thinking. I know he's processing. And when I see that start to emerge and I see his personality start to show up in practice, I know he's got ownership of what we're doing. And so I'm really excited about where he's headed.
Dave, you guys brought back the whole offensive line.
Yeah.
Has there been anything for this first week or even the off season where that continuity and comfortability among those guys showed up?
Absolutely. I think just, as we're watching film and as we're grading it every day, just looking for the runs to be targeted properly, the protections to be targeted properly, where there's not a lot of free runners on the quarterback. Sometimes they have a blitz. They got one more than we have. The quarterback's got to make a decision. But I think it was from day one of this camp, targeting the runs properly, staying on the combos, the footwork that's in sync, getting those good double teams up front, handling different movement on the edges. A lot of those things take time. Those are things we were working through last camp and into the season. We come into this camp with a lot stronger, greater understanding of what's happening. I don't think I've ever been in 15 years. I don't think I've ever been involved where we brought every single person back from an offensive line. And we're talking about not just the starters, but the guys that are behind them and even the depth practice squad players. These are all guys that have physical attributes that we're excited about. And now they got more understanding of what we're doing. I'm really excited about, obviously the camp, but then getting into preseason games. As we start to get into our depth, we can start to evaluate guys more because they know what they're doing.
Tight end room so far. What's your evaluation been?
It's a strong room. Starting with JT, I think JT, he showed up in the spring. This year, he really took advantage of the time after the season until he reported in mid-April in terms of just training. It's so much different for rookies. They finish their season and they start training for, combine drills, pro day drills, and those types of things. But for JT to be able to just focus in on an offense and a skill level and his route running and all that, it's shown up great. Mitchell Evans looks like he's going to be a very versatile player for us. Big enough and strong enough to help us in the run game. Smooth in the pass game. He's been a pass threat, in his past. Excited about Tommy's progression there as well. But then, as I go down the line, looking at James Mitchell, he's doing a great job for us. Bryce, forgetting Bryce's last name. Bryce Pierre, another guy who took advantage of this summer to really train, to really look at what are the concepts he's being asked, and he's showing up. To have Dominique Daphne, who I've known for a while, it's a great carryover because I had him in Tampa and trained him before he got here, and then Tyler Mabry, who's been in our system. So from start to finish in that tight end room, we have a bunch of guys who understand what we're doing, who are committed to it, and Pat McPherson does a great job with those guys. So I'm excited about that whole room. Yep. Thank you.
So last year you played a ton of snaps. Now it seems like there should be a healthier rotation. How do you think that can keep you guys
wanted to do all season, but the fact that I got a chance to do that and to see what I can do with that and feel that and wear that, I feel great about what I can do coming up this year if I ever had to do that ever again in my career.
Sean, I thought one of the more remarkable plays for you last year individually was the peanut punch on the kick return in Munich where you knocked the ball out. And do you ever take something away from that, intentionally or not, to share your teammates? Like at any point in the game, you could be on teams, you could be on defense, and it could be your time, and you got to make that play. And are you the peanut punch honorary teacher in the locker room?
I don't think I'm an honorary peanut puncher teacher. I just think that just turnovers in general, the more we can create 66 punches, we get a turnover. So that's what we preach and that's what we believe. So as long as we get enough punches on the ball and enough attempts at it, we'll get balls out and can possibly lead in turnover battles. So that's what the goal is for us, is to get as many turnovers as we possibly can and giving our offense extra chances to be able to go score and put the ball in the end zone.
You got younger guys on the edge like Nick and Brinsley. What's impressed you the most about them? We've seen them make a lot of statements early on in camp. The development to learning and comprehending those things. Going out there, seeing we get in the meeting rooms, taking it out from meeting rooms, going to practice and applying it. And not only just applying it, but doing it the right way and holding yourself to that standard and dominating. Those things matter because you can't mentally be like, oh yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do, and not go out there and achieve those things and not work at those things. Even if you fail, knowing what you can learn from those things to be better. So I feel that they've done those things and we'll continue to do those things.
Going back to DB, it's sort of an interesting dynamic because y'all had a year together in meeting rooms and whatnot, but only a handful of snaps in a game. Does that time away from the field still transfer over, or do you still kind of have to facilitate that chemistry when you're on the line together?
I feel we have chemistry still. Even though, OTAs and all that stuff, we didn't have a year on the field, but the knowledge that we both uphold and understand and can communicate to each other without even saying a word, I think that those things matter. But when you get to the field, you do got to still build those chemistry, and I think we are building those things.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Everything being good, Josie's still out there. He still, communicate with me, everything. And then obviously, even with Shaq, when Shaq heard the news, he texted me and just told me, hey, bro, we talked about this when I got here. You up next. Now you really up next, though. So just go out there and be free.
Obviously, yesterday you guys got to put the pads on. There's a little bit of physicality. Was anything said between you guys afterwards? Did you guys kind of come together afterwards? You're both obviously practicing today. Everybody was kind of unscathed. How do you handle a situation like that?
At the end of the day, like I said, it's football, so emotions are gonna be held. We got pads on. It's a man's game. Everybody got pride of us, so stuff gonna happen. But at the end of the day, we came and shook it together. It was it's all love, bro. It was between the lines, people, if I got put on my behind, I'll be, pissed off too. But, at the end of the day, it's football, though. We understood, came to a level ground and, shook it out and talked about it.
How much are you looking forward to the joint practices so that maybe, a little bit less friendly fire?
I am. I'm not the type of guy to fight. I don't. I'm the type of guy to chill. But, if I get pushed like that, then it can happen. But, at the end of the day, whatever happens there, you want to keep it professional.
How's it been communicating with Christian, kind of in the middle there, and how has he done with kind of setting up and calling the keys and everything like that?
Real good. Christian, like I said, he already came in there knowing the defense and all that, because it's a similar defense where he played at in L.A. So good, it was no wasted steps with him, and I love that. Great communication with us. Even like when we were between plays, we always like keep each other, on the high end. Like, hey, you got this, we got that. So it's real good.
Both of you guys are growing in your increased roles. Having guys in front of you like a Bobby Brown, having Derrick Brown back. How beneficial has that been for you guys?
Real good, real good. It's great to have, a good D-line in front of us, so just watching them play and all that, sometimes I'll be starstruck, like, golly, boy, them boys balling. But then I had to get to the play, like, oh, Trevor, you playing ball. So, it's real good to have that.
What's the chemistry like with the linebacker room? You have, your vets, and you also have, obviously, Scorton, Princely, and then Bam Martin Scott. Having these younger guys and these older guys, what's the room like?
Oh, we got great chemistry. They like to ask a lot of questions, like, more than my kids. So I'm like, but, it's real good to help them out, because I love seeing young guys want to learn. Even though they're older than me, they still look up to me, ask me, like, questions about, football.
How is that? Like, being younger but having older guys, does it feel weird?
It do sometimes, because I be talking to Bam, and I think Bam like 23 or 24, and he looking at me like, I'm older than you, right? I'm like, well, I get that, but I'm in this, defense for, my second year, so he still, like, respect that, but he's, like, making jokes, but, it's kind of weird, though, like, really, having him look at me like I'm his big brother.
The shoulder injury you had to have a procedure on, how tough was that mentally kind of coming back and being physical, but also, like, what was the process of rehabbing and coming back on time and everything like that?
I could say the mental part, it wasn't all kind of hard, especially me growing up in the country. We always got hurt. We always told this Western Clay put it on anything. So I wasn't too worried about, my shoulder coming in, just playing. It was just all about just being more confident, going there, being comfortable with the defense, and then the rehab process is real good, just going through it, having other linebackers like Luke Kuechly, we text, because he had the same shoulder injury. He told me, like, hey, this is another stepping stone you can get over, and just talk to me through the whole process.
You gonna wear the brace all season?
Yeah, yes, just to be safe.
Something you never had to wear it before, did you? Used to it.
It took me a while to get used to it. Obviously, I wore it last year at the end of the season, but now I got used to it way more and more. Now I don't even feel it there no more.
Did you tell JJ was going to be coming, or did you call you as soon as he got the news?
When he got the news, he texted me, and he said, "Yo," I'm like, "What's going on?" He was like, "I'm gonna be in Charlotte." I was like, "Okay, bet." I'm like thinking like, "Oh, he's gonna be in Charlotte. He coming to visit." And I was like, "Okay, bet. What you wanna do?" He said, "Nah, bro. Like, I'm coming to the team." I was like, "Oh, shoot." And I tell everybody when he came in, like, I tell everybody, "Hey, y'all know he got 6 fingers, right?" Everybody's like, "No, no, he don't. No, he don't." He showed them. But now it's real smooth having that come in. He asked questions too a lot, and I'm like, I love seeing that.
Hey, can I ask, when you see some of these guys that came from winning programs like Bobby Brown in front of you and some others, how has that mentality helped some of you guys grow, mature, and maybe develop that chemistry that was somewhat missing last year?
A lot, because, they bring in, things from different cultures, coming here, setting standards, because we always want to set a standard. You always want to be great. So, no, they come in here setting a standard, and we just uphold to that standard.
And I missed the first part of the press conference where you asked, what happened with the Chuba thing yesterday?
It was just football, football. I hit him. He got up mad, and things happen, but that's just football, though. At the end of the day, that's why I tell everybody, it's just football, and people have emotions.
Couldn't tell, did he connect?
Connect what?
When he was swinging at you.
There wasn't no swinging involved, man.
Have they had the rookie show yet? We remember your performance from last year.
I tell the rookies this. They letting the rookies off kind of easy. When I came in, we had to stand up on the podium and sing or do something. They letting the rookies come together. So they ain't had their rookie show yet, but I told them as soon as they get out, I'm booing, because ain't no way y'all going up there as a group.
He said you might have been responsible for his goose egg eggnog on his forehead, man.
I don't know.
A couple more. You're going to arrange your own rookie show in the linebacker room?
Nah, man, I'm chill. Like, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just chill. At the end of the day, they know that. Like, I'm real chill. Even with snacks, they kept saying, "What you want for snacks?" I said, "At the end of the day, bro." I said, "If it ain't real food, I don't want it."
You said Luke texted you, you said Shaq texted you. What is your relationship like with those veteran linebackers? How often do y'all communicate? How has that been like for you, especially in your growth?
Oh, real great. Me and Shaq talk every single day. Like, sometimes he just call me, "What you doing?" Checking on me, checking on my family. Obviously, me and Luke talk almost every day too. We talk. He check up on me, ask me how I'm doing. Hey, sometimes you want to go grab lunch. Like, so, just getting that good things, learning things from them. Yeah, obviously being more vocal. You know, that's one thing they tell me, like, hey, just go out there. The man thing is you the quarterback of the defense, so, you know, you go out there, be vocal and be loud.
How much of a difference having Derek Brown back up front?
A lot of difference, you know. That's a big dude, and he can clobber a hole and do things that a lot, like, that's just crazy and it's real, like real good having that in front of you.